Come on. Chop, chop.
I'm a fucking ventriloquist. This beat makes me happy. Like this, like.
Do you ever have fun to this beat, if you know what I mean?
No. I don't know what you mean.
I have. I've had my check.
And you come on?
And I come on. I come on that check.
Yo, what it do, cousins, man? Welcome to the village. It's your boy, Benny Hunnins. Of course, I'm with my brother. The funk is real.
Big Funk, what they call him.
That's what they call him. I told you balalo. And we in this thing, man. We got some hot ass shit to talk about today, man. There's been a lot that's went on in the last week. A lot of sad shit, to be clear, to be quite honest. A lot of happy shit too, you know. We got a cycle of life, and so I'm just gonna kick off our opening segment as always, or not as always going forward. Our Boon Time segment, our sipping on our morning boon. First and foremost, happy birthday, belated birthday to my brother.
Yes, sir.
Elias. The funk is real.
Damn, I'm getting old, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, so another year, man. How you feel?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. It was funny. I woke up and my back literally hurt. I thought you think I'll play it. I literally woke up, was like, damn.
Yeah.
31, I feel you.
Damn, man. That year hit you, huh?
31 reasons why you need to stretch every morning.
Bro, I got to get my stretching up, man. For real.
Oh yeah, you got to be nice and limber, man. I've noticed my mom stretches every morning.
For real?
Every morning and night, like I'll look over and my mom is in full splits. Like my
shit.
mom, I don't know how old she is.
Do we?
I don't even know if she really knows either. But her American age, that the doctor still doesn't believe, is like what 60 would be 60 this year.
Oh wow!
Or yeah, whatever it is, and she can do a full split.
That's crazy.
Both ways, vertical, horizontal.
Damn, that's wild.
So she's in stretching really matters.
Yeah, facts. And it's really good for your health, actually.
Yeah, and I could, sometimes I'm waking up and I'm like, damn, I could barely touch my toes, let alone my damn ankles.
Yeah.
So it's just like, sheesh.
I can't even do that, actually. I can't touch. I've never been able to touch my toes my whole life.
There's a trick to it, and then everybody listening, you could try this. If you put your, the inside of your elbows, and you wrap them behind the back of your knees, and you squat, and you kind of like fold and sit on them, then come back up, and then reach down, and you'll be able to touch your toes.
No shit.
I don't know why that is, but it is.
Maybe it gets that first like initial stretch in. Get you
I
nice
don't
and
know,
good.
but it works.
No shit, man. But anyway, everybody, the village, gotta know it's your birthday. It was your birthday. Happy belated. Give them the date though, so people know.
January 23rd, for those who are curious. So, if you want to go ahead and send me any, videos, nudes, feel free.
I knew that was going. You wasn't gonna say no money. You wasn't gonna say shit.
Oh yeah,
straight to the nudes.
Send me money too. Do that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll take donations in any form.
Oh boy.
Whoa now.
Yeah, man.
And then, of course, we had another special birthday.
Yeah, facts, man. Shout out to our brother Yafet, man. Our boy Yaya had a beautiful daughter.
Yes, and it was on my birthday as well.
Hot damn.
On the 23rd, and the name was Eliana.
Wow.
Similar to Elias. I'm not going to lie, I was honored. I don't know if that was on purpose or a coincidence. But hey, I said this was the best gift I have had on my birthday.
That actually is really tight. That is tight. It is Eliana. I didn't even put two and two together. It does sound damn near like your name.
It's amazing. So
That's
I'm happy.
Beautiful.
Congratulations to Yafet and Menna on the beautiful daughter and the addition to the family. So
have you been by to like hold her yet?
No, I was gonna stop by
so chill,
real soon. I just waiting for all the old folks to kind of slow down
for
and
the coast to clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want to overwhelm everybody.
Yeah, it's not too bad now. Everybody's chilled out a little bit. I mean, it's like her mom's there still, of course, and people, but it's nice.
Yeah, you know how to.
She's so chill, man. The baby, she's beautiful, man. But yeah, shout out to Yaf, shout out to Manna, and to baby Eliana. And it is on your glorious day as well. So now you've kind of given up your birthday. It's over.
Yeah.
I told my sister that Izana, his birthday is December 18th, which is Jaime's birthday.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sorry, Jaime, I love you, but my godson kind of It's his
Yeah,
birthday.
once you get to a certain age, it doesn't matter anymore.
That's true. That's true, man. That's true. So yeah, definitely wanted to shout you out, brother. Another obvious couple big things that have went down. The most recent and unfortunately tragic news is obviously about Kobe and his beautiful daughter Gigi and the other 7 people in total, including the pilot who passed away into that helicopter crash in L.A. Obviously, like, tragic news and stuff is still rolling out to this day on like what possibly happened or what could have happened or whatnot. But it just overall, man, it sucks. Like, the whole thing just sucks. And obviously, he's famous as fuck. He's probably the most well-known person in LA. So it kind of strikes a chord with a bunch of people, but also I think like it's also a reminder. It's sad that it takes like somebody big passing away, especially like before their time, and then obviously his daughter passing away before her time, and all the other people on that helicopter. It's like that reminder to love yours. You know what I'm saying, and to live life to the fullest, man. So
and just to kind of give people an idea of all the individuals on the plane. So there was other passengers, obviously, on the plane that might not get enough.
Helicopter.
The helicopter, who don't get the recognition and acknowledgement.
True.
Of course, because you got Kobe Bryant. That's one person in his own right? So, but all life is precious, and I feel like all life should be mentioned. Yeah. And for that, I want to go ahead and mention the victims on that. Orange Coast College basketball coach John Altobelli, who's also won 4 California Community College titles in his 27 years at the school. He was on there with his wife and their daughter Alyssa, and his wife's name is Carrie. Also, another passenger on there was Christina Mauser, who was also the coach of the girls' team along with Kobe, who died in the crash. Also, another victim on there was, again, the pilot we mentioned, whose name was Ara Zobayan. Sorry if I'm pronouncing any of these names wrong. And also killed in the crash was Sarah Chester and her daughter Peyton. They were also part of the team, so other victims on that flight. So I didn't want us to go without mentioning those people in this tragedy. And me personally, I was a big Kobe fan.
Yeah.
So it hit me in the guts as soon as I heard it. Because at first, I didn't believe it. Cause
facts, me neither, honestly.
Because that day, in the morning, we're having breakfast or whatever at the house. Me and my parents were talking, and we get into, they, of course, they love to watch their YouTube. So as soon as I got the chance to get the remote, I'm putting on whatever, and we get to talking about Nipsey. Right. And so I'm showing them videos of Nipsey, and we're watching like interviews and things of that sort. Cause my parents know who Nipsey is, but they don't know the extent of Nipsey, right? Because their generation is just, they don't really have that connection, and they just know what they're kind of hear or what they're told. So I wanted to kind of give them an idea of why he's so iconic to us, and why we love him so much and admire him. And so as I'm showing them these videos and everything, I'm sitting there, and then I'm having we're having this conversation of how life is so precious, and people of his stature going so early, and the type of impact they leave behind with their legacy. And then a few hours later, I'm coming back. Me and my dad went somewhere. We're coming back, and as soon as I get home, I get a message on my phone that says "R.I.P. Kobe," and I was completely confused. Right? I was like, "R.I.P. Kobe, Kobe who? Who you talking about?"
Yeah, right.
Right? You talking about Kobe, who we've been talking about on ESPN the whole day because LeBron just passed him in scoring. You talking about that Kobe?
Right.
So immediately go to my phone, Kobe Bryant, and I see the news flashes, and then I turn on the news, and immediately it's report saying Kobe's been in a helicopter crash. And then of course, with news, you can never be too sure, so you always kind of wait till things get verified, because hell, in the beginning they were saying it's Kobe. Hell, I heard Rick Foss, all his daughters, you just hear all these mixed things.
Everybody rushing to be first.
Everybody,
which is fucking terrible.
Yeah, because now you're in, and even then, when they broke the news, this is before his family even knew what happened. So to have to go and find out from TMZ that your father and your husband just passed away, or which is killed in a car accident, your loved one just died. That's like the worst way to have to find out.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that shit hurt. I mean, I was watching. I was over at my boy's house. I hadn't seen him in a while. Somebody I grew up with, and I was out there, and we were watching the Pro Bowl. And I'll never forget because, you know, though you get the notifications on your Apple Watch or whatever, and he just looked at his watch. He just looked at me. He was like, "What?" I was like, "What, bro? What is it?" He was like, "They're saying Kobe died?" I was like, "Wait, what?" He was like, "Yeah." And of course, you know me, I'm going straight to the phone. It says like Kobe died in a helicopter crash. And me, kind of, you know, I like to watch a lot of interviews and shit. I actually remember that Kobe was big about the helicopter thing. Like, you know, it was years ago when he first started doing it. LA traffic, I used to live out there. It's fucking terrible. So he uses it obviously to go back and forth, make sure he can spend enough time with his daughters as well as do his basketball thing. So he started doing it, you know, a long time ago. So I remember that, and you know, not for nothing, I've always remembered being like worried, like, man, like, damn, like something about helicopters is just like, it's always made me a little nervous. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, to like live your life traveling on a helicopter like that, it's a lot. And as just as quick as they could bring it up, you know, ABC, you know, live news report pops up and they start talking about it, and then they're saying it's 5 people, right? Again, not even having all their shit straight. You know, it's 5 people total, and they're saying it's like, and then like right before it cuts off, the guy is like, yeah, sad news, you know, Kobe and his 4 daughters, and then it cuts off. And I remember me, my boy Kevin, and his lady were like, what? Right? Because you don't know anything, right? So I thought, at the time, I actually thought that Kobe had taken up flying helicopters as a hobby. So I'm thinking like he's flying his daughters around, like what the fuck, like what's going on? And that's the worst news you could possibly hear. Like, of course you don't want to wish death on anybody, but you know, you hear that all of his daughters died too, you know, and it just, and then you get on Twitter, and then Twitter's like its own news story, and you hear Rick Fox, you hear this, you hear that. It was so wild because everybody was just rushing to put out information before anything got confirmed. And then you find out it's 9 of them, which is, you know, damn near twice as many people. And it's Gigi and him, and they're going to practice. It was supposed to be like a regular day. And then the telecast comes on and you see it's so much fog, and then it's like, oh, like, the truth is starting to come together, you know. It's like the weather probably played a part in it, or being able to, you know, see probably played a part in it. There was a fake video that came out, shows like a helicopter like sputtering and falling out of the sky, and it wasn't even the same thing, you know. So the whole thing really just, it was sad and kind of rubbed me the wrong way in regards to like how people treat news and information, and just trying to rush for clout and all that other shit. And then once all that goes away, you have to like remember, like, man, like, these people really die. Like there's a teenage girl and a young adult who just thought that their parents and their younger sister was going to go to practice and come back, and now they're gone. You know what I mean? So how are they at, you know, 18, 21, I don't know exactly their ages, but how are they going to live the rest of their lives? You know what I'm saying? And the families of the other 2 families, you know, or the other 3, including Kobe's family, you know, 4 families were represented. Well, when you think about the pilot, actually 5 families represented on that helicopter, you know, and all of them are affected, and all of them are going to be shattered for a while. And, you know, and we could talk about what happened and how it happened and all that. And I'll leave that for, you know, the news and all that to talk about all those reports. But it's just sad, bro. It's just really sad.
It's really sad because some, like me personally, I know I've talked to you about Kobe before in the past, and I'm one of those people. I love to listen to when Kobe talks. There's not too many celebrities I really follow, or really look up to or admire. I'm not the type of person who gets starstruck or really cares for that. Yeah. So, but Kobe was one of the few that I really looked up to. Yeah. Ever since I was a kid, Kobe was one of my favorite players, if not my favorite growing up. Yeah. But of course, you know, being a Mavericks fan and them being, you know, the
in the way
per se, you know what I'm saying? Kobe broke so many of our dreams as Maverick fans, right? And it was like, I'm rooting for you, Kobe, but not against us, and then he'll come in and bust our ass.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I don't know how many times Kobe put it on us, right?
Yeah.
And for that reason, you know, I always had that admiration for him, but I could never, as a child, I'd never like to buy other team jerseys just because of my loyalty to my Dallas teams, right?
Right.
But I was always really tight with Kobe, and then I started listening to him more as, you know, towards the tail end of his career, where he would start doing more interviews and really start opening up and start talking about different things. And he had a very what he calls Mamba mentality, right?
Yeah, man.
And his work ethic, which I think can transfer over to any aspect of life, not only just sports, but in anything you're doing.
For sure.
Right. And taking that type of work ethic and being able to apply it to the different things that you're trying to accomplish in life can take you very far.
Yeah.
And for somebody like him, who's been in the spotlight doing what he's doing since he was 17, 18 in the NBA.
Yeah.
And to continuously have that work ethic is it's unheard of, right?
Yeah. And to come out and just have that like second career, like that second coming. Most people stumble at least. And I know like a lot of people were worried about that with him because, you know, he was so fixated on basketball. It's like, damn, what's Kobe going to do after? Dude came out, got an Oscar, started his own production company, building his own businesses. Like he came out and, like you said, just transitioned and just took that mentality and applied it to being a father and being an entrepreneur and being a creator and just never let up. He was relentless. And if anything, that should be like the biggest thing taken from his life, like his legacy, like that Mamba mentality is a real thing, you know? And we've been talking these last couple episodes, like being, you know, it's very aspirational, you know, and it's stuff like, it's people like him that like really showcase the possibilities of a single individual if they truly put their heart, mind, soul, and energy into doing anything. Like anybody can change their life, anybody can be whatever they want to be, but they got to be all in and truly, like, for lack of a better term, not give a fuck what people think about them. Like people hated Kobe.
Yeah,
you know?
Kobe didn't give a shit. He didn't care what you said. He's a ball hog.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not a team player.
He's like, yo, I don't care.
Shit.
I'm trying to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you're not with it, get the hell out the
his
court.
teammates, bro, he did like they were talking about how rough practices were. Phil Jackson would talk about he's uncoachable. Like, but at the end of the day, the Mamba got it done. You know what I'm saying? He left with a handful of rings, literally. You know, and 2 numbers retired in the Staples Center. Like, and I was watching one of those videos, and Jeannie Buss said it perfectly. She was like, "We're retiring both of your jerseys because individually, both of those would be Hall of Fame careers." You know, like that's crazy. You know,
honestly,
yeah, 3 rings in number 8, 2 rings in number 24. You know, and arguably his older years is when he really took off into like his own self. You know, so.
Because he didn't have Shaq no more, so he had something to prove.
Yeah.
He was. That goes to show you the type of person he was. Oh, you think I can't win on my own? You think I can't do this on my own? You think I need somebody else to do this?
Yeah.
Shit, I'll show you what's up then. Yeah. And I've always been that type of person too. So I've always felt like, you know, when your back's against the wall, you're just gonna come out swinging, and that's how he always did it. Yeah. And so he's a true testament, and especially the fact that, you know, somebody like Kobe, who we feel is, you know, he's immortal. He's Kobe. It's like the legend. Even when you watched him today, and when he would show up to the games, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody would just stop what they're doing. Oh my God, it's Kobe. Hell, when he was on the sideline, when he was talking whatever
Gigi.
he's not to Gigi, but when he was trash talking Luka, when he said something slick to him in Slovenian. Yeah. And, you know, in the middle of an inbound, he just, oh shit, it's Kobe. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up, man? Okay. All right, back to the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh shit, Kobe. The ref ain't gonna say nothing. Yeah, take your time.
Yeah,
but that's just,
I understand.
Yeah, it's Kobe. It's Kobe. Do your thing.
And it was, man, you know, the biggest thing that, like, because I ain't gonna lie, bro, I be tearing up. I've made no bones about that in anything we've talked about. I'm an emotional person, and it gets me more when I like see other people's like testimony and just like hear how people feel about it. And then the biggest thing that this whole thing reminded me was like, bro, we used to literally like pull up, and anytime we were shooting the ball or like wadding up paper, throwing it in the trash can, we would all say Kobe. Like that was like what we. That one is what got me, bro. That's what got me. I was like, damn, this dude is like an integral part of the lexicon of a more American like culture and language. You know what I'm saying? Is like literally that motion.
He's an adverb noun.
Yeah, one of our coworkers, Mallory, her child, he was like, who is this? Like, who died, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, what do you say when you shoot the basket? And he was like, Kobe. He was like, oh, and it just clicked for him. He's like, that's who that is. Like, without even knowing.
Because how old is he?
He's a fucking baby.
Yeah,
he's a kid,
child,
but without even knowing, like, he's saying Kobe when he's shooting the ball. And
it's just a phrase that's going to live on. And and I would have never imagined in a million years that that's how Kobe would ever go out in this form or fashion. And the saddest part is it was with his daughter. Who was only 13, who was a promising
she was going to be his
prodigy. She was the next coming of Kobe.
He had no regrets and no like want to have a son. Like it wasn't even necessary. He was like, she got it. She owned it. And then he backed that up, which was so beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
He loved being a dad for his daughters. He loved being a girl dad. He even says like having girls is better than boys.
Yeah, facts.
That's what he liked.
And she had it, bro. She had it. You could tell. I mean, you just see the mannerisms and the way she played, and it's so sad, man. Just thinking about that is so sad, man. Not for nothing. We could talk about this probably all night, man. But of course, and I'm really glad you mentioned the names of everybody because rest in peace to everybody who was involved in that accident, and rest in peace to Gigi Bryant, of course, and rest in peace to Kobe Bean Bryant. You will be missed, brother, for sure.
Hell yeah.
And at the end of the day, legends never die. You're going to live forever, man. So
they never die, man. All they do is multiply.
Multiply for sure, man.
That inspiration that he's gonna leave behind in millions and millions of young people and older people. It's gonna transpire, and it's gonna continue to push people forward. It's gonna push a culture forward. It's gonna push a whole bunch of movements forward.
Yeah.
Even similar to when Nipsey passed.
Yeah.
All it does is, like you said, legends never die. Their names and legacy will live on and continue to inspire people.
Yeah, and that's a hell of a segue actually, because they were honored together at the Grammys, and I instantly saw people who obviously looked at it, and it was almost like an instinctual thing. Like, man, these are the kings to LA. Think Kings of LA. Like, honestly, those two guys will go down in history as like probably the two most prominent figures of our generation that come out of LA. Even obviously Kobe not being from there, but I mean, 20 years with the Lakers.
Spent most of his life in LA.
Yeah, facts. So but speaking of the Grammys, that is the other current event, if you will. It was on the same day, right? On Sunday.
In the Staples Center.
In the Staples Center.
The house Kobe built.
The house that, man, like, and so, obviously opening it up, they had their tributes, and to their credit, man, for obviously news that they just found out, hours before, they really found a way to honor him and weave him into the situation. And one person who I obviously haven't heard anything about in regards to this, but I wanted to shout out was Lauren, because shout out to her, because she didn't have, and you could tell, like, if you think about it, that whole thing was supposed to be catered for and around Nipsey. You know what I'm saying? Like the tribute and everything was for Nipsey. And really, in my opinion, it's big of her to be like, I would think they went to her and was like, yo, like, we're going to add Kobe to this thing. And it was big of her because you could tell, like, she still felt that, I don't know, I don't want to say reverence, but like, she still felt that compassion towards him. And obviously she could relate to whatever Vanessa's going through.
If you think about it, they're all from LA.
Yeah.
So they have just as strong as connection to Kobe as anybody.
Exactly.
If not personally already know him,
Yeah, they do. I mean, you remember, you could see Nip and them, dapping each other up all the time. And so, obviously having him join as being part of that tribute was amazing. It was beautiful. And then just when you look at it and you realize, like, yeah, those are, at the end of the day, those are our modern day Kings of LA for sure. Like, they're going to go down in history as, arguably the two biggest figures of our generation, pop culture, sports, hip hop, to be a
Hell, another LA legend that's passed recently that doesn't get enough, recognition. John Singleton. For those who aren't familiar, that's the director who's Boys in the Hood, Four Brothers, Higher Learning, Snowfall. For those who watch FX, the show.
Yeah.
So he's got countless movies. He's one of the biggest directors, black directors. Makes all the greatest movies that you watch and inspired, and it's all based off of a lot of his inspiration just growing up in LA.
Yeah.
So that's another LA legend gone too. So those three, man, I feel for the city.
Yeah, for sure. And so just to bring it to the next part of that night, which was the Grammys, right? And so there was a lot to talk about and a lot of different questions, different things, people who were awarded, people didn't really understand what was going on. For example, actually, let me break down how it works, right? Because there's a very common misconception on how the Grammys work. It's not like the Billboard Awards or MTV. There's no external voting, right? You have to be a part of the Recording Academy to vote, right? So I had the privilege, thanks to my cousin who kind of put me on game, to be a part of the Recording Academy and go to the Grammys a couple years and being there when Kendrick didn't win those awards, and then being there the next year when he did, and wondering like, how does this whole thing work, right? So the easiest way to put it is when you were a creator in the recording, it's the Recording Academy of arts and science or whatever, but it's about recording. Like technically we are recorders, right? We are recording our voices. So people, you can have comedy albums, music videos, obviously all sorts of different things that are recorded like audibly. And so when you create and publish and submit your work, you can actually put your name in and like be a part of the academy, right? And so it's only those people who are allowed to vote. And the majority of the people who get into the academy and place their, pay their dues and do all that shit to be a part of it, are not people in the hip hop culture. And the reason why I say that is because we're always the ones who are asking questions like, damn, how the hell do we not win? Or how is it not the person we think is going to win? And blah, 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 blah. And so there's that in regards to the voting. And also in regards to how the albums or how the people are placed in certain categories, is that people, you submit your name into the bids, right? Now, obviously, if you're labeled a certain way, you don't want to submit your name into a particular category if you don't feel like you have any chance of winning. So there's a real misconception on how the whole thing works. But long story short, you had Lizzo winning like 3 different Grammys in 3 different genres, which was mind-blowing to me: pop, solo, traditional R&B performance, and then urban contemporary album. Urban contemporary basically being black people who sing, because there's no, like, they don't put us in pop album categories, so it's urban contemporary. Like a Chris Brown album or an Usher album would be urban contemporary, versus like Musiq Soulchild would be R&B. You see what I'm saying? So
he took it all the way back. He said Musiq Soulchild.
I'm just trying to give people like, so I know people would recognize the difference between Musiq Soulchild and Usher, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you have like traditional R&B versus urban contemporary music, which is like that middle ground between R&B and pop, basically.
Yeah.
So she wins all that, but for her pop solo performance, she beats Beyonce, and that song that she did for The Lion King, she beats Billie Eilish or Eilish, however you say her name, who ended up winning every fucking thing else.
Oh yeah, she cleaned up.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if there's ever been a clean sweep. I could obviously
I'm sure
be wrong.
there was. I remember there was a few years.
But I don't know if because you have to win best new artist to have a clean sweep. So I don't know.
Lauryn Hill like clean up one year?
She didn't. You have to be the best new artist. Like, so the big 4 categories are album of the year, record of the year, song of the year, and best new artist. And the last one is the hardest, because if you're the best,
Adele probably.
I don't think Adele won best new artist and won all those other ones the same year. Do you see what I'm saying? Because usually you don't win all 4. Like let's say like last year, Childish Gambino won Record of the Year and Song of the Year for This Is America, but he didn't win Album of the Year, and of course he wasn't the best new artist because he wasn't a new artist, right? So that's what I'm saying. For you to crack the code, basically your first year coming into the industry is the only year, like the first year you record studio album is the only year you could be technically the best new artist, right? So for you to win that year, first win the category and also win all the other ones, I don't know if it's unprecedented, but I don't know if I've ever seen that shit. So that shit was crazy to me. And she beat out Lil Nas X, Lizzo, like people who had monster years to win Best New Artist. And she won the Best Album of the Year and Record of the Year.
The crazy thing, she had a huge year. I guess because I know I don't listen to Billie Eilish music, but you know, there's a lot of artists who are huge that I don't even realize are huge. Hell, watching the Grammys reminds me of that when I'm seeing all these other people pop up and I'm like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I had never heard of this person. It was an old white lady singing country, and they talking about, oh yeah, she been around forever. I ain't never heard this woman in my life. This lady was about 70 years old. I was like, I ain't never heard her in my life, but she was huge.
Yeah.
And it's funny, when you was talking about the Lizzo beating out Beyonce, I saw a clip, and she had just finished her performance right when they did that award.
That genre, yeah.
And she was, you know how they've got the cameras on each individual as they're about to do the announcement. She has her eyes closed, and she's just like repeating something, and if you kind of notice, she's like saying Beyonce, 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 and then like they say Lizzo, she's like, oh shit, that's me.
Wait,
like,
she was saying Beyonce?
Yeah, if you see the clip,
fuck out of here.
It was like she's like Beyonce. I'm like, she over here rooting for Beyonce herself. But
I mean, everybody wants Beyonce to win because the Grammys be hoeing.
And plus, she from Houston. And, you know, it's Beyonce. It's the queen. Everybody. If you beat Beyonce, hell, hey, that's pretty impressive within itself.
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, to be fair, that song was a smash.
Yeah, it is. I don't care for it, but it was a huge hit.
Commercial success.
It's a huge success. And Lizzo, I've noticed with people, they either like Lizzo or they don't like Lizzo.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not an in between.
My whole thing with Lizzo is like, I just don't think like, I hope I don't get no shit for this. Actually, I don't care. I don't think like the extra shit she does is necessary. Like
the performance outfit was ugly as shit.
Yeah, you know what? It's actually, I say the extra shit. It's really just one thing.
Yeah,
when she went to the Staples Center with her ass out, I just didn't think that was necessary. Nasty. I didn't like. I get the point. Like I'm all for like, you know, loving your body to an extent. Like I'm also a health nut, but let me not start. But the whole thing about just like, I think that was just like going way too far, because you wouldn't want anybody. I don't want anybody doing that shit in public. You know what I'm saying? You don't go to a public arena. You're not performing. You're just in the crowd, and you have your ass out. Like who else gets away with that shit? You know what I'm saying?
You just got these assless chaps, skirt, pants, whatever it was, and your cheeks just poking out. Like there ain't no kids and other people sitting around you like, hey, lady, cover up your ass. Yeah, I get it, it's LA, but shit.
Yeah, I just didn't appreciate that shit, and I didn't appreciate the fact that it's like if you say something about it, then you know you're shaming and blah 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 blah. It's like,
man, hey, this in this day and age, man, we're quick. It's like the cancel. This is like the cancel age. You know what I mean? People want to cancel you out for speaking your mind or saying how you feel about things.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Hey, man. All that sensitivity. Like I understand to be considerate and shit like that, but hey, sometimes you just got to speak your truth. Because if you don't speak your truth, you just living a lie, man. And at the end of the day, somebody's thinking the exact same shit you thinking.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you think Trump out here as popular as he is?
Because there's a bunch of motherfuckers who think the same
bunch
shit.
Of people. Yeah. He just got the balls to say it.
Yep.
He got the balls to say. That's the only difference.
Yep.
All you other people scared. He'll say it.
He'll say it.
Fuck it, I say it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that Air Force One for this shit.
Yep.
I get the White House. Fuck it, nigga. I'm in.
I say whatever you want me to say at this point.
Build a wall. He just turned up.
Damn Mexicans that keep getting under. Just like build it.
Yeah, bro. Another big one was Burna Boy not winning the Best World Album. I know.
Who won?
Let me not say her name wrong.
Rosalia?
No. Her name is Angelique Kidjo. I want to say that Kidjo. She's a very well known. Here's the issue. It's a couple layers deep. The real issue is that the fucking category is world album, as if all Africans and all different types of sounds that ain't fucking 808s or some shit we recognize is just world.
Hold on, what is she?
Like ethnically, she's from Benin.
Oh,
She's from Benin.
so South America.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My geography is shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't worry, I got my compass on.
Thank you, bro. So
I believe, right? Oh, I'm about to fact check this.
fact check
But
that.
it
We have
is South
AMX here in the
America.
background. He's gonna do he's our fact checker for the day.
If I
Sipping on his big gulp, nigga. We
if
need your help.
it should be if I got my compass on correctly, it's in the north of South America.
Benin is a French-speaking West African nation.
Yeah, I figured she was African.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, the way she was talking, she sounded
Did
like
I
she
say
was,
South America? I meant Africa. Psych, got you, nigga.
Yeah.
You thought villagers, shit. You thought I wasn't woke.
the way she was talking. I the way like her voice was. I thought I just didn't want to say she was Nigerian and be that asshole who thinks everybody who sounds like they're West African is Nigerian. So I didn't say that. You know. So she's from Benin. So I didn't. But
Hey, she from Africa at least.
yeah. So
That's a win. Shit, I'll take it.
I mean, that's the thing. World album, it puts every sort of African sound in the same category, which honestly, Afrobeat has kind of built out its own. Afrobeat has.
Oh shit. I know exactly where that's right next to Nigeria.
Yeah, she looked Nigerian. Her clothes look Nigerian. She sound Nigerian, but it's Benin, right? So let's respect Benin. It's a country, right? And we know how
That's what you was named after.
Shut up.
That's Benny. Oh, Benin. Oh, respect Benny.
Yeah, man. So she goes up there. So, okay, problem number one, Afrobeat is not its own category, in my opinion. That's Afrobeat at this point is big enough to where it deserves its own category. It deserves its own big three: album of the year, performance of the year, song of the year. Boom. All right. So I've said my piece. So that's one problem. But two, okay, this isn't as much a problem as it is just really a shout out to her. As soon as she gets up there, she says, "This one's for Burna Boy." So she already knew, like. And then she goes on to say 4 years ago when she won a Grammy in this category, apparently, she had said, the time is coming. There's a wave coming of young artists that you guys have not heard that is going to take over this industry. And to her credit for it, she was talking about Burna Boy, Wizkid, like all the whole wave of sound that's coming out of that region. And I actually appreciated that of her because as a OG, she could have went up there, did her thing, and got off. But the first thing she did was like let people know. She doubled back on her statement from 4 years before and was like, "Yo, this wave is here, and I've been told y'all, and they're coming full force. And in reality, y'all slept on Burna Boy, so I'm gonna shout him out. Appreciate the Grammy though, you know." And then when you look into things a little further, it's funny because one of his biggest hits, and I'll look it up here real quick. It's on African Giant. One of his bigger songs on there, the melody that he uses is one of her old melodies. So it's kind of like, you know, they're playing tennis with the homage here. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought that was pretty cool, but all of us expected Burna Boy to win because African Giant was a smash.
2019 was all Burna Boy.
Yeah, from as far as, you know, our perspective.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, again, those people who are voting, right? Those people who are voting, the majority of them are older statesmen in music.
They probably don't even know. They probably recognize, oh yeah, she won from the last time.
Yeah, check. Real talk. And so that's part of the issue, and it's not as much a issue that the people outside, like us consumers, can really solve. It's really a bunch of the creatives who are part of the culture who don't vote. Go figure. We don't vote. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. Because we can blame them not being woke, but at the end of the day, we have enough people in the industry, and for people who don't know the whole system, like this shit is a campaign. Just like the Oscars and the Emmys, it's not like this shit is just like people who go in and just like vote. Like inside the industry, it's a major campaign. You know, when I was a part of Grammy U, that's how I got in, right? It's this student artist catered a sort of organization. So, and shout out to my cousin Caleb, who still goes to the Grammys like every year. He's the one who told me about it, and so I got in when I was in college, and that's how I was getting my invites. And so I went with him, and you kind of learn the system, and they send you all the magazines and all that. And so I even remember the year Macklemore won. My cousin was telling me like, yo, I think Macklemore's gonna win. Like, we wanted Kendrick to win, but he was like, and then when we get our Grammy magazines and shit, Macklemore's on the fucking cover. So you kind of knew from like the higher ups, like they were making a campaign for him to win, best rap album and blah 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 blah, rap song and shit. And it wasn't until the Backlash that they came back door, and then I won rap song and rap performance like a year later, and then Kendrick swept the Grammys the year later. And I mean, not that he didn't deserve it, but he deserved it with Good Kid, Mad City too. And but to that extent, or on that note, talking about people not getting the roses while they can smell them, Nipsey finally won his Grammys too. He got best rap performance for Racks in the Middle, and best rap sung collaboration. Khaled was the lead, but he got that too with him, DJ Khaled, and John Legend for Higher. And that with that performance, well, first let me say that this wraps up Buna Time, right? That entry segment, but to transition kind of into our main topic of what we're talking about here, that performance, that Higher performance, where they were basically, it was a tribute that was originally just gonna be for Nipsey, they ended up being for Kobe. You really felt the energy, and you felt like the passion behind like people showing love, and then you double take at the screen and you're like, wait, are they wearing kameez and like Abisha libs? You know what I'm saying? Did you recognize that?
Yeah, I noticed that immediately. That was the first thing that jumped out to me. It was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Fucking John Legend's on the piano in a kaba.
I was like, John Legend got the drip.
Yeah.
Got the kaba drip on.
Yeah, bro. And people threw a fucking fit. Oh my goodness.
Oh, over the male dancers. Okay, so for those who might have not seen or watched it, and those who might not be familiar with what we're talking about, so if you go watch the Nipsey tribute, the dancers are including John Legend, and I can't remember. I don't think anybody else besides him on stage was wearing anything traditional.
No.
Khaled or anybody
was in a
wasn't.
white suit,
but they were all wearing what's considered traditional, whether it's Eritrean or Ethiopian clothing, right? And
the Eritreans are gonna throw a fit. By the way, shout out to my Eritreans, because when you say that, they're gonna be like, Nipsey was Eritrean. It was Eritrean clothes, and it's like, all right, bro, it's like both of our clothes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Whatever makes whoever's listening comfortable. However you want to take it that way. Cool. And so
I've just been seeing a lot of that bullshit online, which is super frustrating to me, because it's not like we all don't wear the same shit, eat the same shit, look the same, whatever.
Yeah, and like and even when we talk about like the outfits, there is like regional outfits. Like, okay, you can tell this is from this place, this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like they were doing anything that was specific to a certain area. It was just one of the traditional outfits that, hell, they probably ordered from the city. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it kind of looked Chinese, but
yeah. So, but the men caught the slack because they were, I guess, dressed like the priests,
right?
Because of the head wraps and then the way the netla, like the white sheets, for those who aren't familiar, are wrapped around their bodies with all the white.
It's mainly the head wrap. Actually.
The head wrap.
It's
really.
mainly the head wrap, right? Because anybody, traditionally, on those holidays, like anybody, all of us come, or you're supposed to go in your nuts, lips, your white clothing. But it's the way that the nut allows wrapped around their head. Again, traditionally, it's the priests who do that. And I guess niggas just ain't no better, or
I don't know who put it together. I'm assuming somebody, Habasha, had something to do with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One like they just like, yeah, let's just Google what the hell they wear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody had something to do with putting this together that has some type of connection.
Sure.
But the hat, that might have went a little bit far. They could have done without it.
Yeah, they could have. I wasn't really sure because I mean, in my opinion,
It looked cool. Art's why. Okay, I look at it from a creative art perspective, right?
Okay.
I'm looking at it like, oh damn, that's so creative. That's really cool. But then I do look at it in the sense of, okay, what is crossing the line and going past like if you're trying to represent somebody's culture and tradition,
Right.
I think there are parameters that you must work within to respect it.
Yeah.
And I think
Do
that
your
might,
research.
yeah, that's the problem. Do your due diligence and know that information. So I understand people's upset and frustration because, hell, anybody would be mad if they feel like their culture is being appropriated or being misrepresented, right?
But so here's the cool part.
Yeah.
I actually and when we bring up more examples of this, it'll kind of tie into this point. But I asked you with a different example that we're going to bring up. What if one of us had did this? You know what I'm saying? And I saw way more positive feedback in regards to what happened with Nipsey than what happened with like the Diamond Supply Co. stuff, right? And this all boils down to this big the differentiation between culture and religion, right? And so people notoriously attribute a lot of like orthodoxy in how the religion is practiced with culture. And I've been a big proponent in separating the difference between culture and religion. That at the end of the day, I hate when people say, "Oh, we don't want to practice orthodoxy because it's too cultural." It's too much about the like culture. It's not about like the like spirituality. I'm like, that's the furthest thing from the truth. I was raised in a church. We were both raised in a church, but I was ordained, and I had to learn all sorts of stuff growing up, and it was like, if you really get into the faith, you learn about holy tradition, and you learn about how a lot of these things actually predate Christianity itself. These are like holy traditional practices. And then you tie into the fact that a lot of the things we do are actually biblical. A lot of the fasting and a lot of the different things are all tied into stories from the Bible. And so when people say it's all cultural, I'm just like, no, you're just kind of being a little lazy. You know what I'm saying? You want to just say it's all cultural so you can, in reality, in my opinion, adapt to this new culture and kind of like not do the rigid, because if you're practicing orthodoxy all the way, it's a pretty rigid lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty, straight, like by the book. Like there's a lot of rules, and your diet is controlled. A lot of your actions are controlled. If you're living it all the way, and throughout the calendar you're living a different lifestyle. So in my opinion, it's a lifestyle. Like it's a true, like, to the word religion. Like you have to live it religiously to practice it correctly. And so when people get upset, I get it, but I also feel like it's kind of like when I see the people who getting upset, it's like, how much are you really like truly practicing the faith yourself? Like, what are you really like for example, because since we're talking about this as like a broad topic, and I brought up Diamond Supply Co., right? It's kind of the same thing. People look at it and it's like, oh, you're trying to accomplish a goal in style, right? Because the stuff, regardless of your opinion on if it should have been done or not, if it was just like art that it wasn't religious and you looked at it, it looks tight.
That shit looks icy. That shit looks fire.
Yeah, like it looked cool.
Yeah.
It looked cool. But the problem is that, the iconography
Yes.
of what was on there.
That was the problem.
And to their credit, like they called it the Icon series. It's like
Yeah.
they knew what they were doing,
Hell, on the website they even say Ethiopian
Yeah.
icon, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so, now because they got so much backlash, they took it off their Instagram accounts. But on the website, as soon as you put
you
Diamond
got,
Supply Co., the first picture you see, right?
you got like Salam Central, all of them like, hey, go hit them up.
They sent the Salam bees after them.
Boy, Salam Central, y'all done sent the bees out there. Y'all done sent out all the cousins.
Oh my
all
God.
the cousins was flooded the page. Boy, you had Diamond Supply Co. on the run. That's
Bro, what?
abort.
Nicky Diamond archived the shit out of
Boy,
all
I
that.
said,
He's, I'm done with this
He
shit.
said, hey. He said, damn, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah,
So I
bro.
thought they was gonna love this shit.
Yeah, niggas went crazy. And like, I get it. And at the same time, I also tell people like, yo, we don't worship icons. You know, like these are images. You know, they're depictions, they're drawings. You know, like, you know, we wear Jesus pieces, and there's all sorts of stuff. We know
We throw diamonds, ice. We ice that
Bro,
bitch up. We do
I
so
think-
much stuff.
Yeah,
to
bro, I got this. I got the silver one around my neck right now.
Yeah.
I got a gold one. My girl just bought me. You know, so it's like
Man.
we curse. We use the Lord's name in vain. So it's like, who? I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
That without sin casteth the first stone.
Yeah, man.
But
And-
I asked my dad about that, right? So
Yeah.
I brought it up to my dad that Sunday too. And I was talking to him. I said, hey, I showed him that shit because we were in the mall actually.
Yeah.
So I pulled up my phone. I said, look at this clothing line that just came out. And he was looking at it. I said, so what, what are like the rules behind this? And then, he was kind of just going into it. And his biggest thing was, so if you're going to wear something like this, it's where you wear it to. It's going to matter the most, right? So
Right.
it's like he's like, this looks like something you would want to wear out. He's like, but you're not supposed to be wearing this type of things if you're going to go out partying and drinking
Right.
and doing all this other kind of shit.
Exactly.
Right. Then it's like that's the whole misconception. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, if you're going to wear this, go to church.
Facts,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's like,
Or go
basically,
to Lalibela. or
go to
something. Yeah, you know.
go dripped up, boy. You be
Yeah,
up in
yeah.
church dripping with that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Yeah.
Because I ain't gonna lie, I was one of the few people in the shadows of all the comments and the backlash. Like, that shit is fire. That shit is
I remember we saw it early. We were at work like, yo.
shit icy, dog. I was more mad I ain't come up with that shit. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, this would have been $1 million idea.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it, but I ain't gonna lie. This reaction was one of my like apprehensions.
What?
I was like, yeah,
'cause-
people gonna trip.
My first thought was, would people have that same energy against it if it was made by one of our own?
So I saw on Twitter, I think it was Nebu who
Mm-hmm.
actually like hit like I don't want to say went after someone, but commented on someone's tweet who was saying that it was actually one of some, I don't want to say Abisha, but they said East African person who designed it and actually got it to Nicki Diamonds and them. And then from his perspective, he's like, that makes it even worse, you know? But at the same time, I feel like, let's say Nation would have dropped that or somebody else would have dropped that. I don't know if it would have got as much flack, to be honest. I think it would have. I think people would be like, yo, y'all tripping.
Yeah, y'all pushing it.
Y'all pushing it. I think that's what it would have been more like, y'all pushing it. But it's like, at least y'all are. See, and this is what I was getting at is people kept using the word appropriation. Right? People are like, oh, y'all are appropriating the culture. But then there's also the argument. There was two different arguments going on about with with the Diamond Supply Co. One is your cultural appropriation. You're not paying homage, which was actually untrue because they mentioned over and over, like if you go to the Instagram, it's like hashtag orthodoxy, hashtag Ethiopia.
Go to the website.
The website, yeah, it says it. So in reality, they weren't appropriating it without credit. They were stating where they got it
gave
from.
credit, yeah.
Yeah, but on the other side, it's the idea of, is this religious stuff? It's not culture, it's religion, and therefore it's off limits. You know what I'm saying? And it's bigger than culture. This is what people's lives are based on. This is their spirituality. Like people use these images to worship and to in reverence to God.
Right. Where instead they're using it for profit.
They're using it for profit. Yeah.
Profit and popularity.
Yeah, and
which is completely against what those images should be used for.
Yes, exactly.
So in turn, it is wrong that they're doing it.
Yeah. And even
But
though
it's so damn icy.
and I was playing devil's advocate.
Like, damn, this shit look clean.
There were definitely people who I saw, and I was bored at work, so I was playing devil's advocate because one person in particular comes to mind, and I just seen her going in, and I was like, yo, like they're icons, like they're images, like why are you getting so worked up, like, and they were like, and really, because I like I like to play devil's advocate, and I don't believe in ever just like. I don't know. It's probably a problem on my part. I don't like getting too worked up over shit. Like I feel like we could just have opinions, state them, and move the fuck. It ain't nothing gonna change. They still gonna sell that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
You ain't about to stop that.
you ain't finished because guess what? It ain't us who buying Diamond Supply Co. It's them skaters in New York. I mean in LA or New York or anywhere else who's buying that shit, and they gonna rock it. And one thing that I felt like, because I ain't gonna lie, people gonna trip when I say this, I've thought about like sampling like Ethiopian music, like Muzmud and stuff, right? But then I always said if I was gonna do that, I was gonna find a way to either credit, like, of course, credit the church, but like literally, like, write them in on the royalties.
Well, shit. What's his name? Oh, and the royalties that'd have been dope.
Yeah, you know what I'm
'cause-
saying? Like, to
yeah.
where like the church gets some of the money, at least 10%, right?
Well, what's his name? Did it? Burhane, in one song.
He sampled Muzmor, but did he
Yeah.
cut them in on the royalties?
I don't know if he cut him in the. Nah, I doubt that.
Got it, right?
But he used it in. I think it might have been one of his songs. It's whatever that album, Brooklyn or something. It's like
okay.
Brooklyn Drugs or something is one of the
Yeah.
songs he put it on. But it's like the opening is like.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like-
it sounded like
the
some.
prayers.
Yeah, it sounded like some prayer stuff. I couldn't tell because it's like, however the audio is kind of dubbed.
yeah,
But no, I think that'd have been dope. I don't-
yeah. If they were like, yo, like some of the proceeds are going to the church, or you know what I'm saying, even if it's just their local church or something that tied it all back in. And like, of course, like I said, they didn't really appropriate it without credit. They did say where it was coming from, and they did pay homage. Like, as soon as the first posts that were out, and unfortunately he had to take them all down because everybody was tripping, so you won't really see them. But the first post, you and I saw that, he was giving credit. It was hashtag Orthodoxy, hashtag Ethiopia. I was more so confused as to why he did it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, where the fuck did this idea come from for Diamond Supply Co. to post a bunch of Orthodox like figures, Ethiopian Orthodox figures, and put it online? But
That's where they messed up. They should have at least had some type of statement or something that
Yeah.
gave people an idea.
yeah,
Because when you start using people's religion, of course, we were talking about this earlier with the whole Israel and Palestine thing, religion, right?
yeah,
Religion can divide people and it can cause a lot of trouble.
yeah.
And
To the same extent, like in Ethiopia, it's probably been the single unifying aspect of the reason why that country hasn't fallen apart is because it's a country of faith that respects religion on both ends. It's as much as Israel and Palestine are having problems with, Judaism and Islam, Christianity and Islam have lived and thrived together in Ethiopia for, thousands of years. I mean, arguably since the beginning of those religions, that's where people have seeked refuge and escaped persecution, and so to some extent they didn't do their research, they didn't do their due diligence,
no.
but they were trying to pay homage, and that's where we get into this dichotomy of culture versus religion. Like, do you pay homage to like, how do you properly properly pay homage to a culture and religion? Because to some extent, like, when have you ever seen Black Jesus iconography? Like, that's probably what they're like, most non-Abishas or anybody who's not used to that iconography is looking at it like, whoa, Jesus is Black in this stuff. The disciples are Black.
If you think about it, that's really the first depiction of Black Bible, right? If you think about it, it's
Yeah.
like if you look at
It's
like
all
the
ours.
Orthodox Church, it's
Yeah.
black art. Like if you look, because again, when it comes to religious art, it's the artist's depiction of what they determine it looks like from
Yeah.
what they read, right?
Yeah.
Just like when like the first paintings started coming out, even like in the Renaissance in Europe and their depiction of the Last Supper and all these other images of church figures and so forth. It's no different from how the artists in the Ethiopian churches were perceiving things, right?
They made it look like them.
Yeah, they made it look like them
Yeah.
because, of course, when I don't know Bible verses word for word, but I know somewhere in there it's, you see yourself in me or see myself in you or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
we were
Where it's
built in His image.
built in His image.
Which I tend to think that that phrasing was lost in translation a little bit, because I don't think like God looks like. I think that's why people get into this confusion between man and God, and that's where everybody's confused about Christianity, in my opinion, because I think it's more so like likeness. I think there's a godly aspect of us. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like our physical being or like image, but like the idea that we are creators, right? Which is,
It's like the whole 5%er thing.
yeah,
If we were made in His image, then call us by our names. Most individuals don't believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Like what Erykah Badu said.
yeah.
Basically, if the black man was the first original man, then God is black, right?
Easy.
And then that's why they fear us, because we're godlike.
Yeah.
Similar to that concept. You know, I be on my pro-black shit.
Come on. Come
Yeah,
on
I'm
with it.
on my pro-black shit.
Come on.
But we trying to invite everybody into the village.
Yeah.
This is we're like human resources. It's diverse. we want a diverse village. Look at us.
Yeah. But if the village was all black, we'd be all right.
Yeah, you just got to know who your leaders are in this village. There's some niggas, all right?
We definitely running the show
You know
around
what
this.
I'm
Show.
saying?
Yeah, man, absolutely, bro. But yeah, I think it's a battle that we're gonna have to fight for a long time, which is this idea of culture versus religion. And in reality, I think like these sort of things, if not for anything else, bring about that conversation, because as mad as people want to be, I wasn't too mad. I don't know. I guess because maybe I just don't be getting mad about shit like that. But you know, whether it was the Nipsey tribute and what they did there, even the Diamond Supply Co thing. Obviously, it's easier to point that out because, you know, like your pop said and like what most people said, people are gonna be wearing that shit, skateboarding, drinking, smoking, partying. It's like,
Can't control it.
you know what I'm saying? But at least in my opinion, the performance with Nipsey, one, it was a tribute, but two, it was gospel-esque, like that music. It was very spiritually uplifting music. You know what I'm saying? So to
It's
me,
a freaking choir singing. It's
yeah,
a church
it's a
choir
church
in the
choir.
back singing.
Yeah.
So it fits the theme.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to Nick's, you know, the overnight celebrations of like, you know, Easter,
Yeah.
Christmas and all that, when they're up there with the, you know, Makwamya and the I forget what the thing's called, the metal.
Shit.
Yeah, they have the the whole
That's all
front
they
row
was- that
is
was all
dressed
they
up
was
wearing that.
missing.
Yeah,
It was just missing the little ching metal thing and then the little drum thing. That's
Yeah.
all they was missing.
yeah, facts. And so like to me, it was a very spiritual feeling and energy and moment. And so, though of course they weren't priests, I can see why they felt like, you know, in that spiritual vibe. And you know, and to be fair, and it's in this country, it's way different than back home, especially like out in the boonies. Like a lot of people are priests. Like you're gonna see a lot of people dressed like that because, I mean, people are giving their life to the church, and you know, and the church is usually all there is. You got the farm and the church out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know, man.
Hey.
More power to them. Shout out to them
I
for
rocked
trying.
with it. I liked it.
I appreciated it. You
Thought
know,
it was dope.
I did too. You know,
That's one thing. I that's the only reason why I even tuned into the Grammys. I was just waiting for that performance.
for the tribute. Yeah.
Just for that tribute, just to see what they had. And I'm glad I sat through all that
Honestly,
shit.
I was surprised. I don't know why I did not imagine they would come out in gummies and stuff.
The fuck, that was the last thing I would have assumed. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just didn't think that. And
It's
you
a
know,
great idea.
and shout out to his pops, man, because like at the end of the day, like obviously he look Abishai to us, you know, and there's no getting away with it. But they've really made sure to push and promote like that aspect of him, because right, technically it's only half of him, right? Like his mom is an Abishai, and so but it was a big part of him finding himself. And
He even talks about that.
yeah, you
It-
know,
Once he got to see, got to go back home and see where he's from and see his people, he got a better understanding of who he was.
yeah,
Because it makes sense, because that characteristics are in you, but maybe you might not know, why am I like this? Why do I have this type of feelings or compassion? Or why am I this type of person? And then when you see it,
yeah,
then you realize, oh, that's why I come from this already. So
Yeah.
that's that part of me you don't have an understanding of.
yeah, exactly.
But once you get that understanding, it's like, oh shit,
yeah,
it's like clear.
Yeah.
It's way more clear.
exactly. And for the record, I mean, can we? Maybe I'm wrong in this. Fuck it, we here. Can we stop with the whole this is Eritrean versus this is Ethiopian shit? I mean, the clothing, for example, the food. Like, I don't get that argument whatsoever. I don't get the point of it. Like,
I don't know.
I don't understand that shit.
It don't make me no difference.
Yeah, it's just like unnecessary bad energy.
Yeah, everybody my cousins. I don't
Yeah,
really give a shit.
exactly.
I don't care what part of the countries you from.
Facts.
Yeah, you could be from fucking Somalia.
Facts.
You my cousin.
That's it.
My Sudanese. Come on, dog. I was born in Sudan.
Yeah.
Can't nobody tell me I ain't Sudanese.
Yeah. Right.
I'm Sudanese. Shit. What you mean, dog? I told you I'm a sub-Saharan African.
That's it, man. And we all family, bro.
You know what
So
I mean?
like that other shit is just petty, it's unnecessary, and it just further exasperates the issues that I just
Yeah.
feel like are completely unnecessary and that we're inheriting from generations before
It's
us
like,
that
yeah,
we don't need.
It's like we understand we're too different, but at the same time,
We're two different countries,
Countries, but
right?
we
Their
still-
their sovereignty.
yeah. But there's a reason why we all still relate and connect with each other.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's just not by mistake. So,
not, bro.
and I feel like that with a lot of other people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, granted, at the end of the day, if there's one thing I've learned from all of this is, man, you just gotta. All that shit is petty. At the end of the day, it's all petty. If that's what people is worried about, you're worried about the wrong shit.
Yeah.
Like seriously,
That's what I'm getting at.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with all the tragedy and shit that's been happening, losing people, and just I don't know. I guess I don't like to get too deep into it, but
I mean,
yeah.
Feel free, man. That's why we here.
it's not even that. It's just more so like kind of like the whole Kobe thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess when you lose, when somebody's gone, you kind of it opens your eyes and you look at things in a whole different light and a different perspective,
for sure.
right? So it makes you appreciate the people around you. So even your loved ones, the people you might not even have a relationship with, or you might have had some type of falling out with, it makes you really look back and reflect on those things. Like, is that shit really that serious? Like, is it that?
For sure.
Was it really worth losing all of that time and not being able to say what I really felt, or squashing whatever issues I had and really just kind of getting past it?
Mm.
Hell, if you look at like even some of the people that are coming out talking about Kobe,
Yeah.
some of them even saying, "Oh, our relationship might have not been as tight as it used to be for whatever reasons," and they realize like, man, that shit was for what?
Yeah.
Life's too short.
For sure.
For what?
Yeah, man. For sure.
But before as we close off, before we start closing off, I know one last thing: the Super Bowl. We got a Super Bowl coming up here. So
Well,
by
hold
the
on.
time,
Well, before we tangent away, I do want to get your final thoughts on culture versus religion. Like where those lines are for you. How do you wrap that up? Because
Culture, religion.
we'll leave that and move to the Super Bowl and stuff.
So when it comes to religion and culture, it's kind of, I look at it like church and state. Them two should be separated.
Mm.
You shouldn't, because not everybody has the same beliefs.
Right.
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 Religion is your beliefs, and within those rules and regulations and those beliefs are a way of life that you have set forth for yourself that you are going to follow, and this is how you're going to live your life.
Yeah.
That's religion, right? So that's what you believe in, and then this is what gives you faith to continue to live your life and move forward, knowing that there's something more beyond this moment. Now, culture is your people. It's your language. It's your heritage. It's the way you dress. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you eat. It's the way you live your life, essentially, right? So I do see the connection sometimes between the culture and the religion, depending on where you're from, right? Like especially back home, a lot of cultural things can tie into religion, vice versa. But then you realize there's separate religions, so not everybody's ties into that, right?
Right.
So culture, I think, is completely different. My culture doesn't refer to religion, right? So if my culture is greeting somebody when they come into the house, oh, do you need to eat? You need to eat. Let me feed you. No, you can't leave. You take another bite. Gorsha. That's culture, right?
Yeah.
Or, oh, this is please take your shoes off when you come in. That you can tie into culture and religion, right?
Yeah.
Those type of connections, right?
Yeah.
So they all have, I feel like they all draw from each other, right? So, but me in general, I would always say separate the two when it comes to government, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's my biggest thing when it comes to cultural and religion. But besides that, I think they can tie hand in hand, but they shouldn't be holding hands. You just do your culture. Your culture is one thing, and then your religion, that's another thing.
Right.
Don't force it on others.
Right, and I think that the couple, because you very well said. First of all, couple tidbits that I take from that to kind of run with it is, the aspect of others. I think religion is more so a personal relationship, right? It is your relationship with God, or your relationship with whatever you believe in, right? The universe or whatever the case may be, and how you choose to live your life. It's like the foundation, if you will, right? It's your faith. Like one of the points you made really well, in my opinion, is it's really more so about your soul and why you would continue to live and believe that there is something more than what we have right now, right? Because religion is just a practice, right? Religion, in my opinion, is just man's way of practicing or walking in their faith, right? So the faith is really the biggest, is the underlying thing. Culture has nothing to do with faith, right? So that to me, it's like, okay, the underlying aspect of religion is faith, and the underlying aspect of culture is actually worldliness or society. It's like other people, right? So that's where I draw the line, in my opinion. It's like, and that's kind of why sometimes I have an issue with like people who are like pushing religion or your faith on other people. It's like, at the end of the day, your relationship with your maker is yours to have, and so for me, religion and how and what you practice and how you live out your faith is up to you, and it's between you and your people, you and yourself, really. And of course, if you create a family, it's up to you to pass that down to your family. Whereas culture is societal. It has to do with interaction. It has to do with everyone else around you. It is probably a great way of understand, like IQ, for example. Really, IQ is a big aspect of that test is culture, your understanding of the society around you, how people live, think, move, and one can be based or related on the other. For example, like in Ethiopia, right, a very religious country, even though there's multiple religions, right? Of course, you have the two predominant ones being Orthodox Christianity and Islam, or being Muslim. But then you also have being how would you say, Protestant or Bente out there. Yeah. You have Judaism out there, and then you have there are 80 different ethnicities, and some of them are the Western way of saying it is tribal. I don't really want to attribute that to, but you have the Southern tribes, and like you have all these different things going on in Ethiopia, right? But all of that is all of those things are individually, like, in their own silos. You have your Orthodox people, your Muslim, but the culture overall is of respecting religion, respecting other people, and then obviously like the things you mentioned, right? Loving thy neighbor, stuff like that, which can be based out of and formulated out of your religion, but they're not exclusive to your religion. You know what I mean? Like, you can love thy neighbor who is a different religion than you. You probably should love thy neighbor that is a different religion than you. You should invite them into your house and, have that common respect and share food with each other. And, so to me, that's the biggest thing. And at the end of the day, religion, again, the biggest thing I stress is that is a personal thing. Like, that is your relationship with your maker, and whereas culture is societal. You're sharing that. And
right.
So,
no, that's perfectly put right there.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Right. Speaking of culture, Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
There we go. I already know who you taking, right?
Oh yeah.
I think we should ask you first,
man. Honestly. So
for people who don't know, why?
I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing the San Francisco 49ers, for those who just live under rocks or don't follow football. Yeah. So yes. So me personally, I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs primarily because the quarterback, who is the best quarterback in the NFL. I said it. You can add me at the Funk is Real if you won't smoke on the subject, okay? His name is Patrick Big Patty, my homeboy Mahomes, okay? Yes, Texas Tech's finest. And for all you other Big 12, Oklahoma, Texas, whatever, your quarterbacks will never make the Super Bowl. So don't Talk to me. Talk to me.
Was the
nice.
shade necessary? Why not? Why?
Big shade, okay? Palm trees, fucking oak trees,
Yeah.
all the shade, homie. 5% tint.
So you can't see up in my window.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I do feel so. I want them to win, but I'm nervous because 49 is in that defense, bro.
Yeah, and their running game, which
Their running
Kansas City
game.
can't stop.
Can't stop in that defense, bro, and that's what worries me.
So Kansas City, for people who don't know their NFL history, the Kansas City Chiefs originated in Dallas.
Big facts.
They were the Dallas Texans, and they moved up to Kansas City. So that's about the only reason I got to go for that. Okay.
That connection alone.
That connection, right?
That's enough.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all took Dallas back to the Super Bowl. Okay.
I told you we was gonna get that this year.
Just didn't know how. But I just don't want San Fran to win another one just because that gives them 5 and now
No, that gives them 6.
that gives them 6. There you go. So now
They'll pass us.
Yeah, they're ahead of the Cowboys. So I got multiple reasons for San Francisco not to win one.
Yeah, let's go Chiefs.
Yeah. I just don't need that. I don't need that at all. So let's go Chiefs. But San Francisco plays my kind of game, though. You know, a lot of running the ball, great defense, great pass rush, good secondary. Like, they play my type, like the football that I personally like and enjoy. But we got to have the Showtime Chiefs run it up. And that's the only chance they got is if they run it up. Because if that's a slow game, I just feel like the less points that are scored, it favors San Francisco. Because they running the ball, so they're going to have the edge in the fourth quarter, in my opinion.
Yeah, if they shut down Patty, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it ain't even about Patty, in my opinion. You've got the fastest team, arguably, to ever fucking play football. Like, their whole team is under 4.4. Like, all the receiving core, running back. The only person who's not running 4.4 is Travis Kelce, and he's one of the best tight ends to play in the game right now. So
that's a great thing. You have like one of the best offenses and you have one of the best defenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Which always makes for a great game.
Yeah, exactly. Notoriously, the defense pulls that out.
Defense wins championships.
So
there's a reason why they have the saying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm worried.
Yeah.
That's all I can do is say, hey.
But that team, that Kansas City team is the equivalent of like Golden State in basketball. Like, they just got way too many shooters, way too many weapons. They can score way too fast. They're never really out of the game. So it's gonna be a treat. I'm excited, man. So I guess we're both rooting for the Chiefs, but we're both not really counting out San Francisco either.
No, definitely not counting on San Francisco.
Not counting out San Francisco, man. But yeah, in the same spirit of what we're talking about, I say this to my boys a lot because I ain't got no problem saying it. But in an effort to encourage people, to tell people and out all the time and fuck all the bullshit, Elias, I love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
You my brother for life.
Yes,
and
sir.
I love you, dog. And I actually got a surprise for you. So I wanted to wait. I was going to do it last episode, but it wasn't your birthday yet. And we're going to celebrate the 10th episode.
Oh, shit.
So I got something for you, bro.
Oh, damn, it's episode 10. I didn't even realize that.
Yes, sir. Episode 10 of The Villagers. Hold on.
Oh, damn. Yo, by the way, guys, this is very unplanned. I don't even know. I'm kind of nervous. My man just...
Hold on.
He just went into his pockets. It could be the party pack.
No, man, I've left that life alone. And yeah, you know what? I'm gonna let you open it.
Oh, I'm a second Alo.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, it's in my favorite type of bag too. Oh shit! Oh,
Yes,
nigga, I
sir.
got. Oh shit! Nigga.
Yeah, man.
He just proposed. He
Head
gave me
ass.
a ring. Yes, I will. Look at that. Yo, y'all gotta see this. I'm gonna post this on our Instagram page, The Villagers Podcast. Damn, this whole icy than a bitch, my nigga. Hey, I got it. Hey, man, I'm gonna give you a big hug after we finish this
Facts,
recording,
man.
man. God, I don't even know what finger to put this on.
Like, they're kind of wide, so usually they go on the middle finger. But
Put
they
this
should
on my thumb.
Yeah.
When I put it in her
Does it-
butt.
Wow.
What? Oh shit.
Does it fit on your middle finger on your right hand?
Let's see. I think so.
That's where it be
Is that
at.
it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That's where I'm at
sir.
with it.
Ting.
Yes, sir, man.
Damn.
Happy birthday, bro. I love
Thank
you,
you,
dog.
bro. All right, man. We got final thoughts, man.
Love your brother, love your neighbor, love yourself. You know what I'm saying? And just try to live positive, man, and don't hold shit for granted. Don't take shit for granted. I think that has been the biggest thing for me that has brought me peace in life. Is I can get worked up, I can get angry. I'm human, but I just don't like to be upset for as soon as I realize I'm upset, I'm trying to get over it, man, because life is just too short. So
Man, it's super short.
yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because what I want to leave people on is, like I said, Kobe's a big inspiration for me. I've always been a big fan. I always listen to things Kobe said, right? And one of my favorite Kobe quotes that I read recently on similar to what you just said, views on life, is Kobe said, "Have a good time. Life is too short to get bogged down and to be discouraged. You have to keep moving forward, and you have to keep going. Put one foot in front of the other, smile, and just keep on rolling."
I love it.
And I think that's how we're going to close the show off, with those words of affirmation. Again, like my brother Benny said, make sure you reach out to those people that you might not talk to on an everyday basis, and to the ones you do talk to on an everyday basis, let them know you love them and care about them, and that you're there for them.
Facts.
Because again, life is too short. Don't get bogged down with all the bullshit going on around you. I know work and school and everything else can be stressful and can take your mind away from what's really important. And at the end of the day, what that is the people around you, right? Because at the end of the day, life doesn't matter if you don't have people around you to share it with.
Big facts.
So we're gonna leave you on that note, and I'm gonna go back to my phone and play the outro. So every time this happens, I always have to mumble because I have to find the shit.
Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.
Yes, sir. Y'all suck it easy, man.